Hello again, everyone. I am Sherry Ruskis, and I want to welcome you to today's discussion on how to amplify your social media ROI, that good old return on investment. This is a concern I hear over and over again from the thousands of small business owners and directors of nonprofits in the workshops and the webinars that I teach, right? I'm sitting out there, I'm doing this social media, where does the ROI come in? So we're really going to dive into that today. And over the course of the next 60 minutes, we're going to be looking much more closely on that return on investment for all of your marketing, because social media isn't one thing out there by itself, but we're going to focus primarily on social media, and we'll talk about a couple of other things as we go. I want to give a big shout out to Constant Contact, the email marketing people, and who I've been a partner with for the last 12 years. It's really about 13 years now. The years just keep clicking by, don't they? And also to the Carbon Valley Chamber, which you can find over at carbonvalleychamber.com, who's also one of our sponsors for today's webinar. So thanks to Julia and all that you do over there at the Carbon Valley Chamber. So perhaps you, like so many people I talk to, again, really almost every single business day, know for the most part that you should be doing something when it comes to your marketing, but you just never seem to get around to implementing the fundamental marketing ideas because, you've got like a million other things that you need to do in your business or organization, because I know there's some nonprofits on the webinar with us today as well, besides just putting on that marketing hat. And maybe money's been tight and you've been so mindful of not spending your time or your money unwisely, right? Which is all good. Perhaps you, like so many others, have gotten stuck almost to the point of being frozen. And I really use that term frozen because that's what I see with so many people, unsure of your next step. You've had some missteps, so you're not sure of what the next step is you need to take. And I want to tell you, I completely get it. I completely understand and want you to know that assisting small business owners to grow their businesses has become my life's work to assist in changing the story for so many small business owners, because I promise you it really doesn't have to be so painful. The fact that you're here with me today is a really good sign that you're ready to take some action around this piece of marketing that really will enhance your visibility with your past, present, and future customers. And you're going to hear me saying that a lot because I really do believe in having your marketing be customer-centric. Marketing, it is the lifeblood of your business, for whether you're a for-profit or a nonprofit, and you just simply cannot survive for the long haul without a strong marketing plan, one that you are consistently, and that word consistent you're going to hear a lot, are implementing. It can actually be fun, believe it or not. I find marketing to be fun, and I didn't always feel that way. But if you come at it with the right attitude, the right skill set, and the tools to implement it, it can be fun, especially when you start seeing those profits coming in, right? That's when it gets really fun. Sure, you might get lucky. And I've had it happen to me along the way as well, that you hit some windfalls and customers seem to be dropping out of the sky, but eventually you're going to have to pay the needed attention to your marketing as much as you do sales. And yes, marketing and sales are a great combination, and as much as you do to the production of your product or service, and as much as you need to pay attention to those numbers in your business, right? So all of these together is what makes a system in your business, right? So marketing is nothing other than another system in your business, and systems matter. If you only put on Band-Aids on the things that must be done to keep those past, current, and future customers engaged with your company in order to keep revenue generating in your business, it's all for naught. Marketing needs to be a system for your business that gets implemented with as much energy as any other area of your business. And I encourage you to think of it, again, as a system where you get to fully share with the world, your world, the world that makes up your target market, why they will benefit so greatly by using your product and services. You know, the days of the marketing, terminology and being able to trick people into doing business with you. It's just not that way anymore. It's about real world and what you have to share. Robert is sharing that audio is breaking up. Is anybody else having problem with audio breaking up a bit? If you are, just let me know. Otherwise, Robert, if nobody else is having a problem, maybe, as I had mentioned earlier, you might want to call back in. No. Okay, so Robert, why don't you log back in again, and it may just be an internet connection that's happening. Okay, great. So as you see on your screen here, there is a fantastic book that changed my life as an entrepreneur many, many years ago, and both as an entrepreneur and a small business owner, and it's called The E-Myth Revisited, and it's by Michael Gerber is the author, and if you haven't read it, it's a must-read for all of my coaching clients and anyone who wants to really get their business to not be to working on their business as opposed to always in their business. And I could do a whole webinar on just this book, but really it's important. So keep that in mind. So really, put that on your to-do list. So over the course of the past few years, the pain because of a lack of marketing confidence has actually gotten so loud that as I was sharing with you just a moment ago, it's I just continue to hear it all the time. And I've been working in small businesses, including my own, for the past 30 years, the past 16 as a small business coach. And the more cool tools we get, the more confusing it seems to get, and we aren't sure about which way to go for that ROI, right? Like this sounds good and that sounds good, and we maybe get halfway through checking this one out, another new one comes in. So it's just really important that we get focused on what matters the most. And here's two elements I want to share with you that before you jump down the social media bandwagon or anything else, two things that should be at the core of your program. We're not going to get into them in depth today because we're focusing on social media, but that's your website and your email marketing efforts. They should be number one on your list because you want your website to be in place to have somewhere that fully represents your business. And I'll share you a quick story. So we have a new puppy who I'm praying is sleeping all the way through this webinar. But we have this new puppy, and I need to get to puppy training. And so I, did a Google search for puppy training, and I've been in this biz a while, right? But I'm still shocked at how poorly some websites were, some that I just cruised right past. They did really well in the SEO, search engine optimization, right? They came right up. I went to their website, but I was so turned off by their website that I moved on to the next one and the next one. I've actually even emailed people, and I've never heard back from people. So it's really important that your website is there and that you're ready, like you're open for business with your website. And the email marketing piece of it is really so that once you get people to your website, there's a way to stay in touch with them. I was talking to a client just yesterday who had someone offer her an amazing amount of money to buy a Facebook group from her, and which really you can't do because she doesn't own it. You don't own your social media. I think that's an important thing to remember, that you may get 1,000 likes on Facebook, but they could shut you down at any time for sometimes for any reason. I've seen all kinds of things happen. So that's where that email marketing list is really and we'll talk about some things about this towards the end of the workshop today about email marketing, and if you're not having the success in that area that you want to see. So you can see on your screen, these are my social media platforms. I encourage you to reach out to me on them. These are the ones that I really do enjoy the most and have gotten some good business out of, and we'll dive into that more as we go. All right. So I want to share with you really how I got into the online world. And there's many stories to share along the way, but the most important one is 15 years ago, I took my first dive into online marketing. It was a bit unknowingly when I got started. I started writing this piece called The Victory Letter. It was an inspirational piece that really was in a blog form before I knew that the term blog existed. I sent it out via email to colleagues, clients, friends, family before I knew about email marketing. And I really sent it out to be accountable. I had decided that I wanted to write something positive every Monday morning. And so I started writing it. There was a lot of turbulence going on in the world. It was right after, it was the June of 2001, the dot-com debacle, as I like to call it, had happened, where we were discovering just what was and wasn't working on the Internet, and to be followed so closely by 9/11 that September. And I had started sending it out and didn't hear a lot at first, and we're going to be talking about consistency as we go here. But then I started to hear a lot from my readers, especially after 9/11. I mean, people were just hungry to reach out and try to figure out what was going on in the world. And so by sending this positive message out every week, it really made a difference. And repurposing that content today, so let's fast forward 15 years, a lot's gone on, and so now I repurpose it. Now it becomes not only my email that I send out every Monday morning, it becomes my blog, so that I have fresh content over on our website, which is a big must for SEO. You do not want to just have a brochure website that doesn't have fresh content coming to it. Google doesn't like it. And it's and then I link all my social media over to the blog. So it gives me, I repurpose content, which is really important and a really great way to get ROI is to repurpose things. Don't just send it out in an email. Make sure that other people are reading it in other avenues. Not everyone might read it via the email and on the different platforms that you may be at. So I'm going to just put up a little link here. If you want to check that out at your leisure, let me get over here. And you can go to it's victorycircles.com/victory letter. And can I get that up there? There it is. So there's a hot link over in the chat if you want to go get an idea of what has become just a really strong source for me in keeping myself consistent, and I'll keep you appraised of that as we go. Because here's the deal, creating great content is a huge piece of marketing today, and I think probably everyone knows it, which is probably why many of you, if you haven't been getting into it, I see it as this huge mountain that many people have a hard time getting past. But if you get into the habit of it, here's how I look at it. It's really important to not only get yourself into the habit of sending stuff out on a regular basis. Marketing is all about getting people into the habit of reading your content as well. So my readers know every Monday morning, without fails, there's been very few times over the years that I have not gotten it out the door because I'm committed to it, and we'll talk more about that. And then again, I can share it over on my social media platforms. And I've, over the years, one by one, picked up the social media platforms. And as we talk through them, a really important note is that you don't want to necessarily take them all on at once. It's taking one on at a time, getting really good at it, then moving to the next and the next. And again, I'm pretty much done most of the big ones that we're going to talk about today. I am severely avoiding Snapchat. Anybody who's been on my webinars before knows this. My two grown children, 24, 26, have. It's like the only time I ever go on is to see what they're up to, right? But other than that, it's just too much, and I can't get into Snapchat. And I know they're always those millennials are always on the cutting edge, right? So I'm paying attention, but I'm staying away from it right now. And one of my favorites is Instagram right now, and I'll share more about that as we go. All right, so let's jump into the questions that I'm here to answer for you today. And what will unfold here as we go. So what is social proof? Social proof is really an important part of your ROI. Who cares? Like, really, who cares? What social media platforms should I use, right? Because that's the question I get a lot. What do I say? And we're going to talk about the 6 C's of marketing. How are others using it? And then where do I go from here? Okay, fair enough. Let's move right into it. So first off, let's talk about social proof. And here's what Wikipedia has to say about social proof. It's also known as informational social influence. It's a psychological phenomenon where people assume the actions of others in an attempt to reflect correct behavior for a given situation. So that's social proof that you're up there, that people see you, and really it proves that you say who you are, though sometimes we know that not to be true, but it's how it works. And they know, like, and trust you because other people know, like, and trust you. And it's not, I really want to make this point come home for everyone, is that it's not just enough to get on social media every once in a while. Oh, I haven't been on social media this week. I think I'll jump on today. Yeah, I'll get on it. And you know who you are, who I'm talking to right now. It can be worse to start a Facebook business page. We'll jump into Facebook here in just a minute, and then never go there. It will look like a ghost town, right, with no social proof whatsoever, as it just looks like a place where no one goes, including you. So don't be that person. Don't be the person who says, I'll start it, and then, you know what, I just don't have the time, and leave it sitting there for the world to see that you don't have the time. It's really important. It's kind of exposing ourselves, right, and what we do and don't have the time for. Here's another big point, that you don't need to get fooled into thinking you must have thousands of people liking you and massive amounts of likes on every post. Small is big, right? We're small businesses, that we can really act much bigger than we are. It's the consistency and engagement that is what matters the most. One of the reasons I don't care so much for social media schedulers such as Hootsuite is because people start to put their social media on autopilot. And yes, I did talk about having it be a system, but when you have it on autopilot and it's out of sight and out of mind, you forget to interact. And the interaction is really what's important. When people comment, that you're commenting back. It's more just like posting your stuff and forgetting about it, right? We don't want to be that person. We want to get involved with the conversations that are happening online. It's called engagement, and I have to tell you, besides the fact how good it's been for my business, I have met some amazing people along the way. And, I'll be at an event, or I'll be talking to somebody on the phone, and it'll suddenly hit me, oh, my God, I met you on LinkedIn, 4 years ago, whatever it was, and we're going to talk about LinkedIn, which is one of my big favorites. So that's what's really important, because the more you engage with good content that assists people with their particular pain points, you take care of your business each day, online and offline. Again, the happier your past, current, and future customers will be. And remember, past, current, and future. Maybe somebody hasn't done business with you in a while. They see you, and it's like, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. I should connect with them. Many times I find most small businesses don't need that many new additional customers, right? We're always thinking more. We want more, right? But I would ask you this question today: how many new customers do you actually need? All right. Karina, let me just grab this question, is asking, how do you remove a social media if you created the page, then discovered the format isn't right for you? I would, depending on the platform, which I know it's hard to get. Facebook, you wonder if there's really as many thousands of people working there as there is. But I would get on with them and just say, how do I delete this page completely? And you can get through. Sometimes you have to be persistent, but you can get through to support and get your page completely taken off. And I highly recommend that. So that's just something to keep in mind in a follow-up to that dilemma of how do I get off once I got on. All right. So then let's look at your time is worth money. So Constant Contact did a pretty extensive survey that estimated the value of an extra hour in your day equates to about $273. And I know for some of you it may even be higher than that. And that means that taking the time to learn these time-saving tips now not only will help you save time implementing the social media for your business, but it will actually help you save money in the future too, right? Time is money. And what should you be doing and what shouldn't you be doing as we go? Another element that's going to save you so much time and money is getting clarity on your target audience. And I'm not going to get into detail about this as much as I do in other workshops I present, but I want you to know this, that if you today aren't clear on your target audience, it is costing you time and it's costing you money. And I hear all the time, I don't want to put myself in that kind of box and only serve certain people. I want to serve everyone. And let's face it, we can't be everything to everyone, though we would love to. We can't always do that. And the ones that are succeeding in marketing today are extremely clear about their target audience. And again, as you see on your screen, Wikipedia's explanation of a target audience is the intended audience or readership of a publication, advertisement, or other message. In marketing and advertising, it is a specific group of people within the target market at which a product or the marketing message of a product is aimed. And here's the deal. It doesn't hold true anywhere else as much as it does social media. If you're on the wrong platform that your target audience is not hanging out on, it's all for naught. So we will be discussing that whole target audience as we go here too. If you aren't aiming, it's harder to hit a target in marketing, period. That's really the truth of it. And if it's something you've been avoiding and having a hard time working through, I would put that at the top of your to-do list because it's so radically important. And a tip I'll give you really quick is to look at your top 20 customers, the customers you love doing business with. When I say top 20, it's not always about the volume of business. It's how much you enjoy working with them, your team enjoys working with them. They're just a joy to have. Like sometimes you feel like that they should be paying you money to do business with them, right? So that's really who when you start breaking that down of what makes them who they are, you'll start to discover your target audience. And again, there's more into it than that, but it's a good place to start. A couple of stats to share here with you is that the influential piece of it all, one is from the top one is from the New York Times. 84% of social media users share to show their support for a cause, right? That's pretty important. And then it really starts to trickle down. The ODM group shared the stat that 74% use social media to guide their purchases. How often do you get online today to make purchases or hear a friend say something that's really cool and you go get it as well? So I'm going to just answer Jim's question. I'm puzzled to choose which social media that is good for B2B and a small niche. Sounds like LinkedIn is best. Thoughts? We will definitely talk about this. We're going to be talking about this, Jim, B2B, B2C, so business to business, business to consumer, what is best. And yes, I'll give you a little hint there. LinkedIn is a really great one for business to business, but it's also great for business to consumer too, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the LinkedIn. So here's the top social media sites that we're going to be talking about today: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram. You will see what's missing is YouTube, just for time. We don't have time, and I find that these are the top 5 that most people can get into the most easily. But if you're all over your video, YouTube is a great place for you to be as well. Google Plus really has fallen off the radar, even though it's a Google platform. It hasn't clicked. A lot of people I know copy and paste everything into Google Plus just to get the SEO on it, but that's about it that Google Plus will offer you today. But these are the ones that are dominating the scene. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go through them one by one. And I know I'm going to be going fast, and I apologize, but we've got a lot of ground to cover. And so we'll just, I'll try to get to your questions. If I can't, know that I'll try to get to them at the very end. Or I'll try to email people who had particular questions. And always know you can email me as well if you're leaving today with something that's still burning inside of you. So, as we go through each of these platforms one by one, I did a quick check this morning just to see where Facebook is standing as far as active users, and it is 1.71 billion active users, and active user is classified as someone who has logged into Facebook during the last 30-day period, which I know I have. Yeah, most of us last 30-minute period, right? So it's a huge platform, and it's one of the reasons why it's recommended that it might be the place for you to go. But it's not necessarily true, right? Again, if you're a B2B, really it may not be the best place. So that's what you want to look at. And the thing I will tell you, one thing I will be is totally honest and transparent with you here. Facebook makes me crazy. Their business pages, I think, could be so much more effective than they currently are. I've watched them over the last couple of years get less and less effective because, it is a pay-for-play platform. I always have a tongue twister. Pay-for-play platform. And so if you notice that none of your posts on your business page are getting seen, it's because they probably aren't unless you're boosting your posts. And they're making it harder and harder for people to see them, and it's getting more and more expensive. Probably one of the greatest assets of Facebook for business is their advertising platform. And we're not going to get into that in great detail today. I mean, that in itself is a whole Andrea Vahl is a great Facebook. It's VAHL. She also goes by a code name of Grandma Mary. She is great with just diving into Facebook. But if you're going to really want to see it make some big numbers in your business, you want to get over on their advertising platform without a doubt. What do you got to do time-wise for Facebook? You want to get over there about 1 to 2 times a day. And again, really getting into looking at the demographics, and are your demographics even there? One of the things that you can do is go on Google and do a search for demographics, such as the one that you see in front of you right now. Now, I just did this from Sprout Social. They actually have an online platform that you can subscribe to get these stats, but you can also just do a search and get them as well. And that's what I would recommend. I'm not going to deep dive into each of these to talk about them, but it just helps you to see what their income level, their education, is it more urban users versus rural? And where you'll see with Facebook, it's all over the place, right? It's a pretty evenly divided, even between men and women. It's a little bit more based within women, but that's what I would recommend as far as understanding the demographics of a particular social media platform. And remember, they're changing all the time, right? Like Facebook was so much with millennials, and it's shifting, right? They're heading over to Snapchat. They're always trying to get away from so many of us, right? Oh my God, my mother's over there. I got to get out of here. So really paying attention to this on a regular basis, even a quarterly basis, sometimes I think is really good, again, to say, okay, what's happening with this platform? Because they're all ever changing. Don't think that they're just staying stagnant, because they're not. I have a question that somebody has to catch a meeting. Will there be a recording? Yes, there will. They may have already caught the meeting, but yes, there will be a recording of this. So let's talk about Facebook content, right? And this is really true across the board. You really want to spend about 50% of your time getting likes, shares, comments, right? Getting into conversations, getting that engagement going, whether it's an image or a video or something to get conversations started. You want it to be useful and informative, so it can be industry info, hints or tips to curate or curated content, right? So content that you borrowed, and that could be 30% of the content. And then only about 20%, and I always say use that 20% cautiously and for your best stuff, is that you don't want to be that person on Facebook that's always asking people to buy from you, especially on your personal page. Just saying. And what I will tell you, though, is that I do a lot of business on my personal page. Not that I'm up there flashing it. I'm just creating relationships because it's easy. People ask to connect. I got nothing to hide on my personal page. This is how I kind of look at it now. And so I'm making connections. So I would never ask anyone to buy on my personal page. Business page, sometimes if we're doing an event or a workshop or something, we will share information. But you really want to be careful about that in all your online marketing today. I think this 50-30-20 rule is a really good one to keep across the board, and not be the person that's always the buy from me. Different kinds of content is fill in the blank, answer a question, there might be a fun fact or tip. I mean, you just have to play the gambit and find out for your business what gets the most engagement. Photos, without a doubt, get tons of engagement, as do videos. Videos even more than photos. And overall digital content. So that's what you want to be looking at on your content. Again, so it's looking at different things that you can do, and I'm not going to go into this any more detail, but you get the idea, that 50-30-20 rule. Plan your editorial calendar. I mean, I'll tell you, be flexible, just like this screen shares with you, is to be flexible in that, there's a lot of times I see a cool thing when I'm out and about, and I'm like, God, I just want to post this because it's so cool. So be flexible for that, but also plan. But I also know on Mondays we're going to get the victory letter info out there. There's times that we are definitely have it planned, and there's times that we're flexible. So be able to be open to both of that. So really think about within what you do, do you have questions that get asked all the time by your customers, let's say, those number one questions. Have your team really put together the questions, the most frequently asked questions, and those are the things that you can write good content about. Make it visual, and then monitor it, right? Don't walk away. I'm going to really bring that up again and again, but don't walk away. You want to monitor it. Oops, a little fast on the finger there. 2 more quick tips. One is to put up a mailing list form on your Facebook business page. And if you see right there up here, it says get the victory letter, so that people can actually subscribe to my email list. It goes straight into my Constant Contact account, and they can subscribe to my list from that. Because again, likes are nice. They don't pay the mortgage. My email list is mine. I own it. I do not own my likes on Facebook, and that can change at any time. The second other really quick tip with Facebook, which I find myself using the most, is a private group page. If you have, in the Victory Circles, my organization, we have our private members page that you have to be a member of the Victory Circles to be on that page. Right now it's kind of fun. We're doing a 30-day audio, photo, and video challenge in our Marketing Mastery program. And so we're over there sharing stuff that the world at large cannot see. And so it's really cool to do different things like that is only, and also a great place for your customers that they can belong to a private group page. And they take like 5 minutes to set up, super, super easy. All right, Twitter. Twitter, again, is, what do I want to say about Twitter? You really have to be engaged in Twitter to have it work for your business. What I will tell you is that whenever I post on LinkedIn, I always have it go over to my Twitter account as well. The same, sometimes if I do a short enough Instagram post, I'll have it go over to Twitter as well. I don't stay engaged on that platform, quite honestly, because I don't have the time, but I do, I've accumulated about a couple thousand followers, and so I do keep some engagement with that, but the thing to remember with Twitter, it's 140 characters per post. You have to keep it It's short. It's great for a link over to your blog post. It's great for retweets. It's one of my favorite things to do on Twitter is just to retweet something, especially that a customer said. That question about the B2B, it's a great platform in B2B when you're retweeting something either a thought leader in your industry said or something that a customer said that you want to share. What I would say is don't, again, with any kind of curated content like that, is just don't make that all you do, but just make it part of your mix. And again, you can do photos and videos over on Twitter as well. It's a large time consumer, to be sure, and if you really want to be effective on it, you need to be engaging about 5 times a day to really, it moves fast. And it's a great platform if you are or you want to be a thought leader. Again, look at the stats, look and see who's there, see if it's really, your target audience, especially like on this one. Look at the age group. It definitely seems to be a younger age group, and is that where you want to be? So something to think about as you look at your stats, and is Twitter for you? The create versus curate, the retweets, and hashtags. And I think I have one more slide. Yeah, about the hashtags. So what is a hashtag? Most of us know that by now. That little pound sign, as I grew up knowing it, became a hashtag. And a hashtag is used primarily, I would say, in Twitter and Instagram are the 2 biggest hashtaggers, if that's even a word. And it just allows you to group that information for those, like as you see on your screen, there's quotes for small business owners. I don't think that's really they broke it apart. A hashtag always has to be one complete many words put together without spaces between it. But it's really, it's one of the things I love about Instagram is that you can get in and see how many people are, you might have an idea for a hashtag, and Instagram will actually come up and tell you how many people are using that particular hashtag, so it can help bring traffic. When people go into that, like the other day I had seen this crazy looking bug, and I did the hashtag crazy looking bugs, and it was amazing to me, all the crazy looking bugs there are in the world. So, think about that as well. All right. So I think that is about, quotes are great on Twitter, by the way, stats, facts, or tips, and putting a link over to either your website, and there's a thing called Bitly, BIT.ly, that you might want to check out that helps you shorten up long URLs, because again, you got to keep that in that 140 characters, and that can be tough to do sometimes. It's probably the biggest challenge I think with Twitter is to keep it short and sweet. All right. Moving right along. Okay, I think we got through all that, and I'm going to keep moving. All right. Any questions about Twitter? Question I have here is, are you familiar with IFTT? If this, then that. So you can post in one place and it will post in other places. Yes. I mean, there's many platforms that do it. I know Instagram does it, Facebook does it. Most of them will allow you to do it in another platform. I would just say be careful, and I like to, with the victory letter, we kind of shake it up a little bit because it only takes a few more minutes to copy and paste. Copy and paste is your best friend when it comes to saving time on social media. And sometimes you can shake it up, especially if you know people within your client base or across many platforms. You want to see what's going to grab. It's also a great marketing tester to see, oh, look, this got more followers than saying it this way on Twitter than it did over here. So that might be the thing that you want to do, is test it a little bit. All right, LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I would highly encourage every single one of you hearing my voice right now, if you do not have an excellent, and I don't mean just a kind of good, an excellent LinkedIn profile, you need to put that high on your to-do list. LinkedIn, as I was saying before, is a great B2B or B2C, but one of the things that I love about it is that it has such great SEO. Again, that search engine optimization. A challenge I would give to each of you is to Google your name. Luckily, my name, Sherry Ruskis, as I've ended up with it, is not a very common name. So I don't have a lot of competition. Sometimes you might have competition with your name. So it just depends on your name. But what's great about LinkedIn is it can really help bring it up to the top. It also, you want to talk about social proof. LinkedIn is social proof. You are who you say you are. People can see your background, but if you've got a lousy picture up there, you kind of filled in your profile, but you didn't really finish it. Yeah, I got it started. I hear that all the time. Yeah, I got something up there. You just don't want to have something up there. And I promise you, if you spend a good hour to 2 hours, you will get a great LinkedIn profile. If you already have a really good resume, copy and paste it. Again, another good friend. Copy, paste, and get it in there, and then start engaging with people and building your network over on LinkedIn. I think it's a fabulous network. And again, I would say of all the platforms for myself in a B2B, I am definitely a B2B business that it hands down has brought me the greatest ROI without a doubt. And it doesn't require a lot of, it's not one of those, many of these platforms are hungry. LinkedIn is not necessarily such a hungry platform. I post over there once a week with the victory letter. That's it. I do have my messages notify me, my messages that come into LinkedIn, and I'm getting better about that. Again, all transparency, I got a little not so good about checking my messages over there, so now I am having them notify me in my email that I do have messages over on LinkedIn. And again, I've just met some amazing people through LinkedIn, and I highly recommend it if you're in a B2B environment. Here's some stats, 71% B2C, 91% B2B, and nonprofit 53%. So Jim's asking, how do you promote corporate versus personal info? So here's the deal, Jim. You want, and everyone, you are a person, a professional first. And that's what's important. So while you can have a LinkedIn business page, I don't think it's as important. Some people might disagree with me on this, but what I have found for my own business is that and for many, many, many of my clients, is that it's more important that people see you. If you're the salesperson I'm working with, or if you're the only contact I have in a company, I care about you. So it's really important that you are seen as the professional that you are, whether you're a business owner or you're working inside of a company. It doesn't matter. It's you are who you are, and you want to have people do business with you. So that's my answer to that question, and I feel pretty passionate about that one, to be sure. Also with LinkedIn, and I don't know if this is coming up on a slide, here's some stats about LinkedIn. Is always have a really good professional picture. Don't have, Cousin Vinny cut off from a wedding that you were at or whatever. Have a really good professional picture. It just makes it's first impressions, right? So minimum, as they say, 2 times a week. I really feel like you can get by with 1 time a week. I do anyway. Maximum 5 times a week, and I really think that's overkill on LinkedIn. It's really, and most of what you put there needs to be educational. You really need to show your expertise and that you are the expert in your field. Again, here's showing the personal page versus in the background there is the business page. You can do both, but again, without a doubt, have that personal page. And the thing I'll tell you, ROI too, is meeting people on LinkedIn. It's the engagement. And what I will tell you not to do, and I feel pretty passionate about this too, do not become that stalker on LinkedIn. A lot of times people can see you're stalking them. But even bigger than that, don't connect with somebody on LinkedIn and go in for the sale. Nothing turns me on more than that, and I will unfollow people or disconnect them, however we want to call it, on LinkedIn, because you can actually go into your connections and disconnect from people who are starting to just be like nuisance. The only time you hear from them is they're trying to sell you something, and it's like with any relationship, right? You want to build the relationship first. and then we'll talk about selling or buying or whatever. So really keep that in mind. This is about building strong relationships, but it's an amazing sales tool without a doubt to get to find out who you know that knows someone in a particular industry or company. And I just have a great time on LinkedIn. I wish I had more time for LinkedIn. Karina says, I hate that. I do too. It's just like the worst. And I'll give you one more worse, is then they throw you or slap you, as I like to say, on their email list. Like, that's horrible. Never do that. Just never be that person. All right, I'll get off my little soapbox about that one. So make it about you, your product updates. And again, you can do a product update without selling somebody on it. Like, it's more just talking about the cool things of this technology, the innovation of this technology, and just giving people behind the scenes how this product came to market. I mean, think about the things you love to hear about in your industry. And again, this is where having conversations with your target audience comes in so helpful, because they can tell you the stuff that they would love to hear more from about your company. Dana, I hope I said that right, Dana, it says, okay, my calendar is full with social media. When do I do my job? Again, it's picking one of these, Dana, and really getting good at it. And that's how you do it, because I promise you, I don't spend that much time in social media. All right, I'm a little obsessed with Instagram right now, and I will admit, because I can quickly get it on my phone, sometimes a little too quickly, and I'm really working to build that platform. So, come and see me, Victory Girl, on Instagram. But other than that, again, and a lot of this, my awesome assistant, Travis, helps me so much in doing a lot of this. I don't even do it sometimes, because most of the time, to be truthful, the weekly posts that we do with the Victory Letter, I write the Victory Letter, I hand it off to him, and he does his magic. So that's something to keep in mind, too. You don't have to do it all. So again, big reminders about LinkedIn: fill out everything on your page, be active, post at least 2 times a week, and try sharing something that's going on in your industry. It could be a hot topic, right? Trending topic in your industry. Pinterest. All right, moving right along. Lots to talk about here. So Pinterest, here's who Pinterest is for. Let's cut to the chase. You build boards and you pen, and it's really a lot of fun. And I love, like, we're looking right now to doing some remodeling around our house, so I have some boards around that I really love, and I think it's amazing what it can do if you are in home improvement, you're a hobbyist, crafter, foodie, fashion. That's what really does well. You'll see on your screen some of the things we do when we send out the Victory Letter on Mondays. We actually take our pick of the week and a picture of the week and put it with our quote of the week, and that's our Pinterest post. So it serves another purpose. The primary market on Pinterest is women. So if that is your market and you're in any of these areas, it's great. I would put a quick question answered from Ashley. Do your posts on your personal page. That's where I would do your posts. Really get your name out there as the expert. Really, I would do that. All right, Pinterest. Again, here's more stats. I would have you deep dive into that to see if that's where you need to be or not. Again, if you're not in this market, if it's not what you're doing, don't worry about it. Just hold on. We'll get to some other stuff here in just a second. It's all about visual content. We are all blessed we're walking around with these amazing cameras. I don't know if you guys saw the iPhone 7 that just was shared last week at the Apple launch, but the camera on it is just amazing. And I have fallen in love with photography because of social media, and it's amazing how you can get such good pictures. So it's really important that you embrace photography if you want to be on Pinterest or Instagram, that we're going to talk about in a second. You can promote your products. Like I said, I'm looking at this remodel, different bathrooms, different things. It's been really great for me to share these with my husband, and even the couple of contractors that we've worked with. I've just whipped out my computer and I'm showing them. And of course, it's representing this company, these different companies that are on there. So if you're in that environment, Pinterest is fabulous for you. You can do curated content, right? And it's a big piece of it because you just share pins all the time, and people share your pins. You can advertise on Pinterest now, and we've had some really cool things happen around that with our quotations that we do. And so, people start sharing your pins and pins that I put up. It's what I love about Pinterest and Instagrams. It's stuff that I did a long time ago, stays fresh, and people are still finding it. So it's pretty cool. You can send people over to your blog. Again, you can put a little link over to your website with your blog information. That's what we do with our quotes. And quotes or tips are really, really big on Pinterest. And, again, you may have someone that needs to do this for you. If again, you're a interior designer, you're just in a business that you have so much content to pump out because you're constantly doing jobs, it may be a full-time job for someone, honestly, because there's that much interest in it. So to add this to what you're already doing, you really want to be careful about it. Again, foodies love it. My daughter's a chef. She really loves it over there. You want to start it by doing about 3 or 4 boards. It's what they call them as boards. And then also to install a pin it button on your website. So if you have cool pics already on your website, you can put a little Pinterest icon, and you see the URL there on your screen that you can send people over to. And you can provide a description in the links in your product pins. It's all very cool. Instagram. What I love about Instagram is that it's so quick. All right, so you can see right over here. I'm just share this with you because I love this picture. So Sunday morning, I got up, and the sun was just coming up. This is in my backyard. It was 9/11. It was really on my mind. I was having just a really big spiritual moment in my life in that moment, and I was able to share it in like 2 seconds on Instagram. It's how quick I was able to do it. And so that's what I love about Instagram. It's made me, I just keep getting to be a better photographer all the time because of it. I usually post about 1 time a day. It's a beautiful platform, and what I love about Instagram, I'm not going to go too deep into it just because we're running low on time, is that it's so uncluttered. I get over on Facebook and it jarbles my mind, right? I mean, it's just like so much going on, so much advertising. While you can advertise on Instagram, it's just so different. And I have different photographers that I follow, and I have just what am I up to? I don't know if it shows here. I've got 564 followers that I've built up in the last about 3 months that I've really been focused on the platform. And I've made some cool connections. I mean, this is the thing. Can I say ROI necessarily? Not yet, but I've met connections, and I've connected with some people. Woman out of New York who has been doing amazing pictures. You don't have to live in Colorado to get beautiful pictures. She's in New York City, and she does the coolest pictures. And we've reconnected after many years. And so there's just those kind of things that are really, really awesome when you get into it. All right, so I will leave that at that, and let me see. This is not letting me go to my next screen. All right, so, all right, so remember to complete this is Instagram etiquette, but all across the board. Complete your pages. Don't talk about yourself all the time. Pull people in like you would in any other kind of marketing content. Make it about them, not necessarily always about you. Don't just disappear. We're going to talk about consistency here in a minute. Don't ignore your fans. If they respond to you, respond back to them. They say, and you have to just decide what is, sometimes if I find offensive language, I will delete negative comments. But, sometimes you want to talk it through. It just depends on what it is, and that's really a personal preference. Let's see, anything else? Say thank you. Yeah, include your comments when sharing. So if you share a pic, do a little comment. Do some hashtags. Really get into it. don't forget, Snapchat is out there. I know people who are killing it on Snapchat, but again, millennials need to be your market for Snapchat. And YouTube, I mean, I think I'm on YouTube every single day, and it's my entertainment source anymore. So if you have some good edutainment, it's a great place to be over on YouTube. All right, so we've got about 6 minutes, and I want to share with you something super important, and this is the 6 C's of marketing. And so we're talking about all this, but here's the pieces that have to get inserted into all of this. I shared with you that I'm working on my 3rd book right now, and it's entitled The Marketing Warrior. And the 6 C's is what gives us that needed skill set to be a warrior in our work as a marketeer. And so I'm going to go really fast through this because we don't have a lot of time, but I want to share these with you because I think they're so important. So number 1 is creativity. Get creative. Creativity is the helm of all innovation, whether it be the product or service that you provide or the marketing that you create that gets people to it. If you are not having creative sessions on a regular basis within your business, I would imagine things are getting a bit stale. So whether you have a big team, maybe you're in a mastermind, it's what I love. That's why I founded the Victory Circles around masterminds, because I think they're so powerful. But get creative. One of the elements that I love the most about the Victory Letter is the fact that once a week I have a writing date with myself. And I love it. I look forward to it. It's not something I dread. I always cringe when I hear people say, I got to get the newsletter out this week. You might have said it yourself, but really look forward to that creative time because so many great things come out when you make it playtime, when you make it something that just oozes out of you. And as you see on your screen, be curious, be you, let yourself out and have it be fun. Fun is key in creativity. Number 2 is clarity. Clarify your goals from getting crystal clear on the target market that you want to serve to the niche that your service provides that is your differential from your competition. If you don't know that, you've got to discover that. Figure out what your short and long-term goals are. A lot of times people say social media doesn't work, but they don't even know what they want. They just want a bunch of people to like them, and that's not enough. You've got to know what your financial goals are as well as how many new customers do you want this month, this week, this year. I'm amazed at how often I see companies that just want more and never are clear on the definition of what more means, because that's how marketing will serve you the best, is if you get a crystal clear vision. Consistency. I've said it a few times as we've gone along here today, and it's big. I would love for you to write this somewhere that you can see it every day. I must be consistent in my marketing efforts. All too often, a small business owner puts on, in haste, that marketing hat. They send out one email, and they go, you know what, I didn't get very much out of that. I'm not going to do it anymore. They might do 2 or 3. It took me a long time to build up the consistency that comes to me now from the Victory Letter, and you need to be consistent. Just like how you see this wave, right? Think of it when you sit on the beach, right? Does a wave just come once? No, it comes again and again and again. Sometimes it's really big. Sometimes it's really small. Sometimes, if you've ever watched surfers, I love watching surfers. I grew up in Southern California, so it's like it always fascinates me to watch how they'll sit out there for hours and hours waiting for just that really great wave. And you've got to think that way as well. It's a great marketing book that just came out called Surge, S-U-R-G, by Mike Michalowicz, a good friend of mine, and he talks about marketing as a surge. I highly recommend the book, Surge. All right. The next one is the next C is customer-centric. If you've been thinking about marketing only as a way to get new customers, you're missing the boat in so many ways, as I've talked about here today. I think we all know that it's much less expensive to keep a customer happy than it is to get a new customer in both time and money. However, all too often we get caught up that that we're just going after new business, and what you can do in your marketing efforts that will keep past, current, and future customers engaged as well is amazing. And again, it's really by talking to those customers that do business with you today and find out what matters to them. Find out what social media networks they're on. Find out what's important to them and what makes them jump online and makes them jump off of being online, right? So follow that with courage. Courage simply matters. You have to step out from the norm and do bold things. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. When I first started doing webinars like this, it was quite uncomfortable, especially when I had the mute button on for the entire first one I did. It was, a little painful, to be sure, but you got to keep doing it. I love Eleanor Roosevelt's quote that says, "You must do the thing that you think you cannot do." There are so many times along the way, even with the victory ladder, that I, hit that send button and it was like, oh, please make them love it. And I didn't know. And then you start getting the response. Sometimes you hear some things, sometimes you don't. But it's the consistency, again, that goes hand in hand with that courage. And then the final C is the content. You've got to be a content machine. And really becoming an expert in your field. Always, it's like any habit you get into. Once you start developing really good content or get a good team around you that's helping you, it's amazing what content can unfold, and then repurposing that content and finding different avenues, as we've talked about along our way here. So I'm going to go really quick, and I know we're at the top of the hour. I just ask that you could hang on for another 5 minutes just to get the final bit of this. But create that content calendar. Plan it weekly. Be flexible as you see cool things come up. Be spontaneous. It's those spontaneous posts that are really amazing. Check your stats. Be involved. Know that it's working for you. And here's the big one. You gotta take action. So I've talked for an hour now, shared a lot with you. I hope that I've given you lots to think about, and now it's time for you to take some kind of action. This is where the rubber meets the road, and I want you to pick one thing, or maybe two, that you're really committed to getting them both done. If you pick two, you have to be committed to getting them both done, and put them on your calendar to do it. Get that content calendar. Experiment. This is all a big experimentation. And then here's the thing. A couple of things that I want to share moving forward. So, power of the inbox. For those of you, I got two things to share with you, whether you're in Colorado or not. If you're here in Colorado, we have a live workshop happening a week from today from 10 to noon. I would love to meet you in person. It's being sponsored by the Carbon Valley Chamber. Again, you can check them out at carbonvalleychamber.com. But also go to our events page at thevictorycircles.com/events, and you will see the registration for this event, totally free, and just a great way. We're going to do a deep dive into one of those foundational pieces I was talking about, the email marketing piece, and it will be worth your while, even if you're driving away. It's right up near, I want to say it's right off of I-25 near Longmont, for those of you that know the area, and for you to come to that, and I would love to meet you in person and come to that next week. The other thing that I want to share for those of you who aren't in the area and would to take me up on this offer, if you have not taken me up on this offer before, I always like, because there's so much that I've shared. So for the first 5 people who take action and email me at Sherry, that's CHERI, at businessvictories.com. I will give you, no strings attached, and those who have ever had one know that it's not a sales pitch from me. It's really to say, okay, what's your best moves forward? So the first 5 people that do that will get a free 30-minute strategy session with me. Again, just email me and tell me what's the one thing that you're going to take from today's webinar that you are going to, in fact, implement. Carbon Valley is near Firestone. I'm just looking over at the questions really quick. Absolutely. It's right there, Firestone. And what was I going to say? And please reach out to me on social media. I would not be doing my job as a social marketeer if I didn't ask you that, whether either on LinkedIn, Instagram. Those are the two I love to hang out on the most, but I'm also over on Facebook at Victory Circles, and I'm Victory Girl at Instagram. And like I said, I don't get on Twitter too often, but I am there. So, in conclusion, and I think those of you who stayed on have run over a little bit here, but I really want you to encourage to go over to the blog page if you haven't, and see how the victory letter has unfolded. You'll see many victory letters. If you would like to subscribe and get it in your inbox and other workshops, I will send links to other workshops I'm doing, etc. I never send outside of Monday. That's my big tip for you about email. I do not fill people's inboxes with email. I only send in the victory letter, and will send just a quick little something if I have a workshop going on. And before I say goodbye, I want you to think about what's possible. I took this picture from my backyard of Longs Peak. It was one of those pictures that I looked in the camera and went, wow, that's amazing. And you can do it too. I didn't take any special photography classes. It's just something over time that's happened, so I really love sharing that with you, as well as this quote from Henry Ford, who said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." I hope that I see all of you soon, whether in a strategy session, at the event next week, or maybe back here on another webinar. But I really want to, again, thank the Carbon Valley Chamber. Thank you, Julia. I want to thank Constant Contact for all they do in the email marketing world. And have a great rest of your day. And until next time, everybody, take really good care. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.